Mr. Mayor, from your perspective, how did this meeting go? Why was it necessary?
Good. I think that, and Tom can speak for himself, I think he had a real level of frustration, and he was trying to figure out, hey, what's going on, Eric, what is happening? And we were able to get in the room and really articulate what are my powers, what are my authorities, and what are some of the things that we need to legislatively address that is preventing us from doing what we want to do, and that is getting dangerous people off our streets.
Right, and Tom Homan, as you know, Mayor, a couple days ago said he was angry at you in New York City because sounds like last time you guys got together over at Gracie Mansion, you probably said some stuff, maybe we'd like to do this and that. And I think Mr. Homan, and Tom, you could start with this. You were frustrated that he wasn't doing enough. He wasn't keeping up his end of the deal.
Well, look, you know, I've been on the network for 4 years, and I've called the mayor out many times for not stepping up when it comes to public safety threats. But I tell you, when I sat down with him, I saw the cop in him. And he really does want to do the right thing because he is a cop. He's a lifelong cop. And so he wants to help take public safety threats off the streets in New York, make New York safer. He also wants to help find these missing children. We got 300,000 missing children. That many of them are here in this city. We know that. We got to find them. And he's, you know, we'll be working with his intelligence division, his officers, to save these children because many of these children are in forced sex trafficking. Many are in forced labor. We need to save them. And I think everybody can agree to that. I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on.
Yeah, and you know, people want to hijack this narrative and turn it into a political narrative where we're saying we need to have public safety. I requested the meeting. I reached out to his team and said, we want to sit down. This has been an issue I was talking about before the election. Spring of 2022. You look at these quotes over and over again, we need to go after these dangerous people in our street. And now I have someone that understands that narrative, and we are fighting together to get it done.
I know Tom has been on our network so many times saying he felt like ICE's hands were tied under the last administration. You've agreed to sign an executive order to open up an ICE office at Rikers Island so that these dangerous criminals that are here illegally can be deported. Tell the folks at home, because they'll hear this, they'll say, oh, they're going to come after me next. You said these are the worst of the worst. So who is at Rikers Island that will be deported? What have they done?
And you bring in 2 points where the far left has hijacked this narrative. Oh, ICE is running in our schools, ICE is running in our churches, and they are creating this frenzy. They're not in the business of just grabbing children. And we need to, you know, just stop all this noise. Rikers Island, particularly after all the reforms, Rikers Island is now having some of the most dangerous people in our city. And by having ICE on Rikers Island, part of our gang intelligence, using our intel with NYPD, correction officers, we could identify those gangs inside and outside on the street. There was no reason they were removed from Rikers Island. And as I sat down with Tom earlier, I said that we're going to look at all the legalese. I'm able to do an executive order to put them back on Rikers Island, what they should be with part of our criminal justice apparatus.
You have a left-wing legislature. Everybody knows it. And for some reason, nobody votes in New York, so the same left-wingers get in every time. But if you had your druthers, would New York City be a sanctuary city?
What we will always be. This has always been a city of immigrants.
So you think it should be?
No. Let me explain, because this is what's getting conflated all the time. Where the sanctuary city is stated that if you're in this city and you're paying taxes, you should have access to the services. What I asked the city council to do, change the bill that was already in place and modify it, that if you are committing a crime, that we should be able to collaborate with ICE, even on civil enforcement, if you have committed a crime. That part of the bill is wrong. But everyday people who are here until they're moving to be documented, if they are going to school, working, paying taxes, then they should be able to provide police services, hospital services, children should go to school. That is what we're saying.
You don't agree with that, Tom?
I don't agree. I think sanctuaries are sanctuary criminals. But we walked out of the meeting yesterday, and getting back on Rikers Island is a game changer. We can get, not only we get the bad guys where they hit the street, the intelligence of how the TDA operates, where they're operating, all this intelligence they gather at Rikers Island, we'll have access to. But no, I'm strictly against sanctuary city status just because I think sanctuaries are for criminals.
Right.
And
they're a magnet.
But the beauty here is that we're allowed to disagree.
Right.
But we do agree on the fundamental that no matter who you are, it should be saved. So that's what people are missing. My life is sitting down with people I don't agree with 100% of the time. I don't agree with myself 100% of the time. But when Tom and I are in a room, we're both saying one thing. No matter who you are, if you're hurting innocent people in this city and in this country, you don't have a right to be in our country.
Well, here's the thing. You can disagree on things, but Tom has made it very clear that if a politician stands in the way of the federal government executing the law, they are going to bring charges against people like you. And in fact, we've seen the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, go after officials already. So was that part of the conversation yesterday?
No, I didn't think it needed to be. I mean, we talked very frankly about, first of all, getting to Rikers Island, step one. That's the first step. We're working on some other things that we don't really want to talk about in open air just because the city council will be putting roadblocks up on us. But the mayor and me have committed to several other things to make the city safer. Further collaboration. Again, city council, I don't like him. I think, and Mayor Adams, he's dealing with the sanctuary law, right? That an EO can't override.
Right.
So we're working on some things to work around some of these things so we can
You're
get some
being
things
careful
done.
the way you describe it.
I've got to be very careful because the city council, they hate me, right? The city council, they don't want immigration enforcement in this city. So we got to make sure that we collaborate in a smart way so we can get more bad guys off the street.
Yeah. That's the goal. And you said something that's very interesting. You said that elected officials who are standing in the way like me. Let's be clear. I'm not standing in the way. I'm collaborating against so many others that don't want to collaborate.
Well, now you're collaborating.
No, like I said, go back to spring of 2022. I was saying we need to get dangerous people off our streets.
But it wasn't happening.
Is that true? We dropped crime in this city at remarkable levels.
Did you help ICE?
In the level of enforcement for criminal actions, yes. The law says, Eric, you cannot do it for civil enforcement. But for criminal actions, yes. The police department, we have increased the number of officers assigned to our task force. Every morning we meet with our HIDA representatives at city, state, and federal level. Public safety, number one. I've always pursued this. Everyone knows that's
now,
what
Mr.
I
Mayor,
stand.
what is City Council, what are they saying about you wanting to change the wording where we could go after the illegals, even if they're paying taxes, if they commit a crime? Because I saw Vicky Palladino. I know she's a New York City Councilwoman. She's a Republican. And then Robert Holden is a moderate Democrat.
Both of them, if you were to talk to them about that change, they would tell you we agree with Eric.
Okay.
But the overwhelming number of council members who have made it clear that they're not going to modify that law. I don't have.
Why? What is their reason? Why would they protect the criminal?
Well, I think that you look at many of the policies that I put in place. Put in my anti-gun union, 20,000 guns removed off the street, put in 1,000 cops back in the subway system to bring down crime. All of these initiatives that I do around public safety, it's a constant fight with them because I think many people are articulating their personal reasons and not the feeling that the city has. 78% of New Yorkers stand with me, stand with what Tom is doing about getting these dangerous individuals.
But the problem is we don't know whether they're dangerous till they kill. Like that guy that put this woman on fire because she fell asleep in the subway. He didn't have a criminal, he didn't have a record, but after he lit up the woman on fire, now he's a problem. He didn't belong here. Same thing with Laken Riley's killer, who was housed here, went to Georgia and killed. So even though you say, well, we want to be open to people, we don't know these guys are criminals until they act, and then it's too late. Then they become a problem.
Well,
but if they never got here, there wouldn't be a problem.
And that's what's good about what we're doing right now, what Tom, the border czar, has done. I've said it over and over again. We need to control our borders and not allow people to come into the country, gang members coming into the country, people who are here to commit crime. I think what we've witnessed the border czar has done, we have seen a substantial decrease in that flow.
Tom, you know the NYPD. How frustrated are they that they can't fully have your back, be able to tell them exactly where these guys are, be able to go into these raids with you?
Oh, they're frustrated. I mean, the NYPD wants to protect their streets too, and they want to enforce the law, and they want to collaborate with us. I mean, I don't think I met a single uniform in the 4 years I've been coming to the studio that sit out front. I shake everyone their hands. We had dinner with officers last night, not only from NYPD. We had dinner with officers from Newark and from Philadelphia. we had a whole table full of officers that want to do the right thing. They want to collaborate with ICE. But I think yesterday's meeting, I came to New York City, I wasn't going to leave out nothing.
Right.
I did the last time, and I told them I'm not leaving until I got something. And we're back into Rikers, that's huge. But we got other things we're working on. So I'm hoping, and now I got him on the couch in front of millions of people. He can't back waving us now, right? So I think you're going to see things move in the right direction. I really, truly believe that.
And we don't want to give the false impression that there's no collaboration around criminal justice. We collaborated with ICE to take down a very dangerous gang member who was trying to put grenades in our city, caught with a gun. So there's real collaboration with HIDA, our criminal justice apparatus on the city, state, and federal level. We want ICE to come and be a part of that meeting as well.
Governor Hochul said last night with Rachel Maddow that she would consider removing you. How would you feel about that?
She has her role, I have my role. And throughout this entire ordeal, which I think no American should have to go through, the torment of 15 months that my family and I had to endure for something I didn't do. I didn't do anything wrong. Throughout the entire ordeal, I said one thing. My attorney will handle the legal part. I'm going to handle running the city. We return jobs to our city. Our city is getting safer. We're building housing. I think that this is a great American narrative where I stood focused on what I was elected to do.
I want you to address the
Governor Hochul is an embarrassment position she holds. She stands on media after someone's burned alive on a subway. She stands in front of TV cameras and says, I think criminal aliens should be removed too. But she's got the green light law. The men and women of ICE and Border Patrol, when they pull a vehicle over, law enforcement, you're in law enforcement your whole career. What's the first thing you would do? You run the license plate number. Are these wanted? Is there a warrant for these people? Who are they? Are they dangerous? Is that car stolen? All these things, right? Do you know ICE and CBP can't run DMV data on New York State license plate? So they're pulling over people not even know who the hell they are.
Is that the green light law?
The green light law. So she, on one point, she's saying, well, I think criminals should be removed too, but then she locks us out of DMV data. That'd be like us locking officers out of NCIC, the Fed zone. Would we do that? No, because officer safety is paramount. She's putting the men and women at ICE at risk every day. The job's already dangerous. So Governor Hochul, she needs to be removed. Everybody needs to be removed. Needs to be her. She supports sanctuary policies.
I don't know anyone who thinks she's doing a good job. She's an embarrassment. It's hard for me to be impartial on that.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. The migrant shelter, it's this called a mega migrant shelter that's going to be built in the Bronx. We interviewed a representative from the Bronx, and he said he talks to everyone on the street. Not one person wants that facility built. What's the status on that? Is there any way we can...
That's a great, you know what's interesting? If I go to anywhere in the city, when I had 220,000 migrants here, anywhere in the city, and ask who would like a shelter there, not one elected would raise a hand. And then you ask them the next question, how many of you went to Washington, D.C. under the previous administration and said you need to stop this? I took 10 trips there. So you cannot represent your concern merely from the sterilized environment of your office space. They should have been with us saying we need to stop this flow, and they weren't. And so the shelters have to go somewhere.
Well, how long is the federal government going to be paying for the Roosevelt Hotel or any of these other sanctuary hotels?
We're continuing to close them down because of the job that we did. 180,000 out of our system. We closed down Floyd Bentonville.
So one at a time, you're closing them down?
No, more than one at a time. We have to close down as the population decrease. We put in place a 30 and 60-day plan. No one can stay longer than that.
Because your president that you were working for and worked for his re-election let that happen and didn't take your phone calls when you asked for help.
100%.
He
I agree.
iced you out. So you're going to have a decision.
That's a good point.
Right.
Well, the days of the federal government paying for the migrant centers are over.
Good. Right. So, Mr. Mayor,
yes.
You're going to run for re-election?
Yes.
Are you considering running as a Republican?
I'm going to run on the Democratic line. We petitioning to starting soon. Running as a Democrat. There's a many Democrats, like you look at those 78% that believe what we do, what ICE is doing about getting dangerous people out. I think that we have to get people out to vote. That is the problem.
But you're losing by about 25 points to former Governor Cuomo, who wants to be Mayor Cuomo.
Well, listen to this. I had another Andrew in my previous race. He was beating me by double digits in February, but we don't call Andrew Yang mayor. We call Eric Adams mayor. Never give up. New Yorkers never give up. People had me gone months ago, but you know what? I'm sitting on your couch talking to
You
Fox
are
and
sitting
Friends.
today talking about the new alliance between ICE and Adams. So thank you very much for coming
you
and
so
Thank
telling
you.
us the news.
Make it a
Alliance
regular-
was never severe.
And if he doesn't come through,
Make it. You're up early anyway.
if he doesn't come through, I'll be back in New York City,
Right.
and we won't be sitting on the couch. I'll be in his office, up his butt, saying, "Where the hell is the agreement we came to?" So,
And I want ICE to
believe we'll
deliver.
move
And I
forward.
want ICE to deliver. We're going to deliver for the safety of the people of this city.
Right.
Let's focus on every American and New Yorker should have the right to have an opportunity and survive in this city.
We're going to
safely.
hold you to that.
American first. Thank you, Tom. You're doing a fantastic job.
Thank
you,
you.
Mr.
Thank you,
Mayor.
guys.
All right.
So glad you
Thank you.
did
So
it.
much. It's so nice to have this collaboration. Two
Yes.
different sides of the aisle, but working
Right.
together.
Chicago, you're
We
next.
Well
don't
said.
agree on everything, but we agree on
That's
public
okay.
safety.
That's
That's
right.
okay.
That's
Mr.
right.
Mayor,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Bordazar, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.